Presley Motors. Here at Graceland, this is where all of Elvis's cars are on the showroom floor. Like this right here, this is a 1956 Cadillac Eldorado. Bought in 1956, it was originally white, but Elvis had it colored purple. Looks like he traded it in 1957, and fan later bought it. The condition of the car is now a result of a $30,000 registered restoration project that began in 1976. And that car is very big. Like, I don't think my video does it much justice. Like, that is a big car. Like, longer than your average car. And this right here, this is the Solar Midget race car. The Solar Midget Aircraft Company began production of their midget race car immediately following the end of World War II. Designed by Elmer Ross and Curly Weatherton, the midget racers debuted as part of the Solar Company 1944 Craftsman Contest. Oh my God, that is so neat. Wouldn't that be so much fun to drive? Okay, now this car tells an interesting story. The legend has it that this Stunts Black Hawk was originally ordered from Frank Sinatra, but was charmed away from the car dealer by Elvis. This car is presented to Elvis at the Las Vegas International Hotel in 1970. Well, isn't that quite an interesting tale? Elvis charmed his way getting it out from under Frank Sinatra, or from the car dealership. Yeah, but that is a beautiful car. Now this is interesting. This is the Roop Centaur Trike. The Centaur Trike was produced in 1974 and 1975 by Roop Industries, and it's the only true street legal machine Roop ever made. And it says here that Elvis could be seen cruising down Elvis Presley Boulevard and Union Avenue here in Memphis while driving this Centaur. That is such an interesting vehicle. Anyway, it's got a picture of him riding it right here. I just want to say this much. Graceland is very, very interesting. Anyway, guys, while I was filming Presley Motors, I was told that I could not film Elvis's car collection. So, as we did with the previous video, we will go and we will do a photo tour of Presley Motors and the other parts of the museum that is on the other side of Graceland. But anyway, guys, let's get back to the tour. This right here is a 1975 Super Trike, and it was a custom built by Ron Elliott for Elvis. You see, Elvis had issues with his Roop Centaur. Apparently, he claimed that it did not have enough power, so it had a special VW engine in it. And now, we're gonna go on with probably what is the most famous car at Graceland, and that is, of course, the famous pink Cadillac, or as Elvis put it, Gladys's car. You see, Elvis drove this car around a bit, but he ended up giving it to his mom because his mom loved the car so much, even though Gladys did not have a license. And I do believe that the pink Cadillac was a custom build. But now we have ourselves a 1970 Mercedes Roadster. And what made this Mercedes Roadster so special is it was Priscilla Presley's. It was given to her as a gift by Elvis in 1970. And quite honestly, she loved it. She drove it around a lot in California, and it now resides here in Presley Motors, the car side of the museum. But now we're getting on to the Sam Phillips Cadillac. Now this Cadillac is very, very special. You see, Sam Phillips, who was also the founder of Sun Records, it was this exact Cadillac that he used to drive around to promote all his artists that he brought on, and one of them namely being Elvis, but he would have had others that he would have been promoting. But there are some cases that he would drive for hours and hours to promote CDs. Very, very interesting and very fitting that it is here at the museum. But now we have a 1974 Lincoln Mark IV, and this was purchased by Elvis 1974, and it's one of the last few cars that he really had. That's about all I really know on it, or from what I could gather on it. But now we have the 1960 Rolls Royce, the Silver Cloud. And what makes this Rolls Royce so special is this was the first Rolls Royce that Elvis ever owned, and he drove it around quite a bit while he was in house in Vegas. I mean, just look at the shine in that. I mean, Rolls Royces are really, really cool vehicles. But now we have a very special one. This is Elvis's 1969 Mercedes limo. And this one, what makes it so special is this limo was used in the 1972 MGM documentary Elvis on Tour. And I don't know, it just, to me, it looks like, I mean, it is exactly what the president would have drove at the time. You know, it's got the 6 doors. It just doesn't have American flags. And this baby sitting at the far end, this is a 1960 MG. And Elvis drove this around in Hawaii when he was filming Blue Hawaii. I forget who Elvis played in that movie. But as we get on throughout the museum, here are some of Elvis's golf carts that he had at Graceland. What I find so interesting is when you're at Graceland, they play home videos of he and Priscilla and Lisa Marie driving around the property. And it's so cool to see the golf carts still there to this day. And also, I want to say this snow sled was from Elvis's childhood, because it does have the age on it. But going further, we have Lisa Marie's pedal car. Absolutely, she loved it as a kid. And I felt like it's just so cool to see like how vehicles were in the 70s. I mean, it's kind of like a callback to what I said in the previous video about the architecture and design of homes in the 70s. But also we have Elvis's boats, and obviously, I mean, Elvis, he was always with his family and with his friends. And these boats in the historic marker, it kind of talks more about that. But now we have the tractor that was used at Graceland for many, many years. And actually, this was purchased by Elvis himself when he had a farm in Mississippi. Now, when they sold the farm over there, they brought the John Deere tractor back to Graceland, and they used it, I want to say, up until the early 2000s. Then it was restored by a community college. But that's enough of the vehicles and all the different cars that Elvis had. I mean, this would probably be a 2-3 hour long video if I talked about Elvis's cars and his motorcycles and everything. So now we are getting on to a artifact that I find very interesting. It's very notorious, and of course it's the TV that Elvis shot that one night because he didn't turn the channel. He was just like, enough of this SHIT, and he shot the TV. And this is that TV. This is so cool. But anyway, they also had uniforms from Elvis's time in the Army. A cool thing is he was actually he had a sharpshooter award, or not an award but a medal, and he was also the lead in his group. I mean, Elvis, he was quite the man. And you know what, just to show the content of his character, he didn't ask for any special treatment. because at this time he was still pretty darn famous. But also we're kind of getting into some of the other artists that have been inspired by Elvis. Namely, the one that I really like, that is Toby Keith's hat. As you all know, a couple of years ago, Toby Keith passed away, sadly, from cancer, and I honestly thought he would beat it, but he didn't. But this is his hat, and there's a few other things as well. But now that we're getting back to the far end of the museum, we're kind of getting into like the really cool historical stuff. Like right here, this is the actual piano that the $1 Million Quartet played on. And if you all don't know the story behind it, you see Elvis, or it was in December at Sun Records, you had Johnny Cash and you had two other gentlemen, famous artists at the time. I can't quite remember their names. But Elvis came in on that cold December day, and they played around for like upwards of like 3 hours. And Sam Phillips, he recorded it, and this went hidden up until, I want to say, the late 90s or the early 2000s, when 75 songs were released, or I believe 75 minutes was released from the $1 Million Quartet. And like I said, this is that piano. Of course, now we have other things. We have stuff from Elvis's 1968 comeback tour. That was really interesting, especially like when you see it in the movie Elvis. But of course, there's his get-up, his suit, and of course he's got the chairs and stuff. And they also have, in big red letters, Elvis, again from the comeback tour. But there were other things that they had here in the museum. They had Elvis's rings, they had his sunglasses, they also had a contract that was written on a what do you call it, a sheet, like one of those tablecloths. And then it was later, I think it was an extension in Las Vegas, I believe. But as I was saying, they also had Elvis's suits, they had his gold records. I mean, it was just an unreal experience, and probably the closest you will ever get to Elvis, who he was. But anyway, you guys, I think we're gonna end this one. That was a lot of artifacts. Anyway, while I was filming the cars, one of the ladies told me I couldn't film, so I had to go back to doing a kind of like a photo essay. But now that we've kind of seen like everything that I've seen, or everything, because I don't want to share it with everyone, there's just so much here. So now we're checking out the planes.